expressed in this program and not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the award-winning show, The Morning Watch, on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live in the first watch today. Wanted, women only. Is this exploitation or opportunity? And in second watch, AI is set for a bigger takeover. Are you ready? For our social media question, we ask, would you prefer to employ males or females? And state that in your advertisement for the post. Share your responses on our Love 1 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel and also on WhatsApp. 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your response later on in the program, but first, here's our quote.
All right, good morning, good morning. Today's I quote says, sometimes even when you're invited, you're still not welcomed. And this one is from Pastor Mike Jr.
Oh dear, what an interesting I quote.
Yep.
Good morning, Jukal.
Good morning.
The first watch will be back after this break.
It's time to twist and win with Coca-Cola. Enter for a chance to win a magical travel experience. Carnival costumes, TVs, earbuds, and so much more. Entering is easy. Just purchase any Coca-Cola with a white cap. WhatsApp the code under the cap to 876-214-5756. And that's it. Visit us on Instagram at Rosico Hub or Coca-Cola Jamaica for more information. It's time to twist and win with Coca-Cola.
A breeze. Imagine getting home after a long day and it smells so amazing that it makes you smile. Try Febreze Plus, an air freshener that delivers continuous scent for up to 50 days when you plug it in low mode. Indulge in wonderful scents for weeks with Febreze.
You're invited to listen to Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, every Thursday at 10 p.m. First Thursdays, the New United Bible Way Church of God with Reverend Dr. Jasmine Brown. Every second Thursday, Apostle Dr. Elaine Richards, Public Relations Officer, Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, and Women of God in Service, Rogis Ministries International. Every third Thursday, Senior Pastor Fitzroy Carr, Praise Deliverance Ministry. Every fourth Thursday, Reverend Dr. Leonie Samuels, pastor at the Richmond New Testament Church of God in St. Mary. And on fifth Thursdays, Reverend Dr. Ruthlyn McCarty, Kingdom Covenant Family Church. That's Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, every Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Employers for a very long time have bemoaned the fact that finding good help is very difficult. If it's not one issue, it's another. Maybe as part of the solution recently, it's been noticed that a few employers have taken to being even more specific than normal about who they hire, stating what gender need not apply, stating explicitly that only females should apply, has got some experts up in arms. And no, it's not to work in the sex industry. If this is this good or bad? Is this a good or bad custom? The views differ. We have as our guest so far Dr. Paul Bourne. He's a social epidemiologist and researcher. Dr. Bourne, good morning. Dr. Bourne, are you muted, sir? Can you unmute yourself, Dr. Bourne? In case
Sorry for that. Good morning to your listeners.
Now, Dr. Bourne, I'll read a little bit of an article put out by Karina Barnett recently in the Jamaica Observer. The date of the article is March 26, 2025. It opens as follows. A social scientist is warning that some employers operating in Jamaica, particularly at the wholesale and retail levels, are strategically exploiting the economic vulnerabilities of single mothers and young female school leavers. And there's talk of them offering lower wages. And because these women are vulnerable, they accept it. And then there's reference to you, Dr. Bourne. Dr. Paul Bourne, director of the Socio-Medical Research Institute, told the Jamaica Observer in a recent interview, and the article continues. Sir, what are the legal issues that surround this kind of situation?
Well, it's illegal to do what they are doing, but what they are doing it in a subtle way in terms of letting it appear as though they are seeking.
Right, add something.
Go ahead.
I think it's unconstitutional. Because you're not supposed to discriminate based on sex.
That's how far they are going, but they are doing it in a subtle manner.
Yeah.
Subtly. But I've started doing some research on the matter, and I've actually gone to wholesales and retail outlets in Jamaica that are owned by the Chinese and the Indians. So to see what is happening to the workers, how they are feeling. And I've heard some startling things.
So did you just make a racist comment, Dr. Bourne? That is all Chinese and the Indians. Are you making a racist comment, Dr. Bourne?
No, I'm not making it. I'm talking about the place that I've actually gone to because of what I've heard.
I see, sir. So none of them are owned by persons of African descent?
No, none of those that I've gone to so far.
None of those that you have gone to so far. Okay, understood. So now, isn't it true that by custom, whether we want to admit it or not, that even though some jobs are not quote unquote gender specific, you're expecting only persons of a certain gender or sex to apply? So you're only expecting women to apply for a certain position, and you might only be expecting men to apply for a certain position. Your thoughts, Dr. Bourne?
That's an excellent point. I mean, we're fully aware that there are particular jobs who need certain skill set, and because of the very nature of the jobs, then a particular gender might be preponderously more willing to apply and more willing to be accepted in that position. We understand that, and that's true in some cases.
But?
Not in all cases.
Well, they say not in all cases. True in which cases then, since you're going down that road, sir? True in which cases?
There's the incident relating to climbing these tall wires to be it's electrician in terms of JPS. It may require particular skills and particular sort of body type to do those jobs. Not to say that you don't have women who are linesmen, but it most predominantly a male area.
Yes, understood. And what about jobs which are normally occupied by, or mostly women do those jobs?
That's a part of the gender stereotype in terms of, say, for example, nursing. That's a gender stereotype, not necessarily that the job is fitting for a female. Just a gender stereotype that has been a cultured phenomenon. But whereas now seeing a number of males going into those professions, a number of times they are looked down on in hospitals and other places to sort of say that why you are a nurse, not a doctor. And of course, that's as a result of the gender stereotype. But it's not that the job requires a female.
Is it that the job of nursing requires a person who is a nurturer and it is assumed or felt, or maybe it is even true that women are more than natural nurturers as opposed to males?
Women are the natural nurturers based on particular theories. All right, that's understandable.
It's not reality; it's only a theory.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I found it's more a theory than something which is proven.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Proven phenomenon.
Interesting.
So what I'm saying to you is that not that women are required to be nurturers to be in a profession of nursing, because you hear nursing nurturers. No, what really happened is how it was started in Jamaica by Nightingale in terms of a female phenomenon wanting to care, etc. And that's what I continued in the profession, not because of it being a female issue.
Dr. Bourne, you ever been to the hospital before and you see persons who are ill, and it is mostly the daughters who come around the fathers and the mothers to help care for them? You hardly see the sons doing it. Isn't it true?
That's not a
I leave that one for the time being. But seriously though, Dr. Bourne, there are some jobs you are finding more women doing. Even, for example, gas station attendants. A lot of women are doing those jobs now. And there are other jobs, especially jobs that require a level of concentration, repetition, and you'll just stick out the job for hours upon hours upon hours until the end. Is it that some men find themselves not wanting to do those jobs? Is it because the women are maybe a little bit more better trained in terms of their education? They read a little bit better sometimes, better with the handwriting, and a little bit better with the math and the accounting. And so sometimes we're not getting enough men to even qualify for those jobs, or showing not as much interest, or the employers just want to get the job done. And if you have a lot of women who will do the job, they'll just hire them. I remember one potential employer once saying to me that the women would take less money. They didn't care about the salary. They just want the experience. And so they just want to fill the post, and they just hire the woman. Your thoughts?
You have just spoken about the real phenomenon, which is the fact that women are willing to accept a lower wage. And that is exactly where the issue is. It's not that the job is worth $5 or $10, and fully well a number of these women know. And let's look at some fundamental things as to what will be driving that.
Yes.
Half of our parents in Jamaica, headed households, are females.
Yes.
So these are the women need the money because they must take care of their children. So with that issue being said, a number of women are actually willing to go out and work just for 10 cents, just theoretically speaking, because they want that income to support their household. Now, the men on the other hand, not that they don't want the income, but what they oftentimes see is that these jobs are burdensome more than the income that they are receiving for those jobs, and therefore they're not willing to do them.
I see. So when a man is taking a job, he's not only looking at the money, he's doing can I call it a cost benefit analysis?
Absolutely.
They're weighing what am I going to lose versus what am I gaining, so to speak?
Absolutely. The women do too, but it's just that the situation that the women are in, it's somewhat different. Think about a child crying in the night because he or she is hungry. This is what the women sometimes have to face.
Yes. And you're saying that oftentimes the men who might not be in the home, that sort of reality isn't facing them.
Absolutely.
And as such, they are not as pressed in to take a job, even though it may not pay the money they want, but at the same time, okay, understood, Dr. Bourne. Dr. Bourne, I pause because we're upon a break, sir. Hold that thought for a minute. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Do more on the go. Discover a new and convenient way to send money abroad with the GK1 app. Download GK1 from the Google Play Store or Apple App Store to send with Western Union today. The time by Grace Kennedy Remittance is
7:15.
What are your financial goals? Consider who you are and where you want to be. Do you want to open your own business? Do you want to own a home? Invest in properties? Go back to school? Send your children to school? Then you have to save. But first, you have to have a budget. This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
I just never did I get through with no work, you know, and me did I get desperate. Till one day, me see one ad, but I want somebody for work at a massage parlor. Trust me, the place was nothing like them advertised. From the very first day, I had to be giving much more than massages.
Verify the legitimacy of job advertisements with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. To report suspected cases of human trafficking, call the nearest police station, 119 or 888-PROTECT. A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch, and we are having a conversation with Dr. Paul Bourne, social epidemiologist and researcher. And we are looking at the topic here, which is wanted, women only. Is this exploitation or opportunity? Dr. Paul Bourne, quite a lot to unpack here, sir, in terms of why it is that women are often being used to fill roles. But I want to ask you this, sir. If it's, for example, an entry-level job, and your article made reference to that, sir, why not just take the job, whether you're male or female, because you're not going to be in that entry-level job forever? Dr. Bourne? Unmute yourself, Dr. Bourne, if you're not unmuted, sir.
That's a good argument. But what really happens is, it's simply a matter of cost and benefit, you know. Mm-hmm. All right. When you look at even theories like Becker that was published in 1968 by an economist, right? Not a sociologist or a criminologist. He said that there are benefits to committing crime and there's a cost associated to those benefits. Now, when you look at the males, when the males look at it, they are actually looking at it in terms of, yes, the benefit is to get a job and an income. What's the cost? I'll be worse off. And therefore, it does not make any sense to actually go into that job. And they'll actually flip that coin now to go into criminal activities. That the cost of going to those criminal activities are lower than the benefits, and therefore they do them.
I see. So even though there's a likelihood of getting caught if you commit a crime, the likelihood of getting caught, for example, maybe, God, I'd hate to say this, but in a country like Jamaica, when they weight on a balance, they might get away with it.
They might. Let's look at the clear-up rate in terms of crimes in Jamaica. The clear-up rate is 30%.
Or yes, so even if they are in fact arrested and charged, they might get bail. They, trial, and maybe the case will be thrown out eventually if no witnesses turn up. Well, we now have, I believe, from the Jamaica Employers Federation, Wayne Chen, Mr. Wayne Chen, President of Jamaica Employers Federation. Have you joined us, Mr. Chen? Mr. Chen, are you with us now?
Yes, morning, I'm here.
Good to have you, sir. You are an employer and you represent the Jamaica Employers Federation as the president. Your thoughts, the whole matter of having more women in the workspace. Women are now doing jobs that were traditionally held by a lot of men. For example, gas station pump attendants. A lot of women are doing jobs that require a lot of concentration, repetition, and you need to be able to do some writing, reading, and interfacing with customers, putting a smile on your face, making people feel welcome. And oftentimes an employer not seeing enough men coming forward to do these jobs will say, listen, just hire the women. Mr. Chen, your thoughts?
Well, Jamaica has been an outlier in this for several years. Jamaica ranks in the top 5 countries in the world with the majority of women at the supervisory and management level. There's only a handful of countries where women outnumber men at that level. It's one of a handful in the world where female literacy exceeds male literacy. So Jamaica has long been an outlier. I go further. When I entered the University of the West Indies in the mid-1970s, enrollment was roughly 50-50, 50% men, 50% women. Today, it is closer to 80% women, 20% men, 70-something, 20-something. And it reflects a long trend, and I go back 50 years and coming forward, of women outperforming men in the classroom. Once education was opened up, and the girls started going to school, and we are close to 100% enrollment in the respective age cohorts for kids in school. That wasn't the case in the 1960s, where that number was closer to 60%. And while I'm not a sociologist, I've been associated with educational institutions and policy for 40 years.
Yes, yes.
I've been an employee of thousands. I represent employers who employ hundreds of thousands, and I've worked in every sector. And, you know, I can't attribute the knowledge to mine. I remember a presentation by Dr. Errol Miller 40 years ago, where he pointed out some of the root causes of, but he called it male underperformance. I would just call it a disparity in performance between our boys and girls. And it starts in the household. Jamaica, again, an outlier, is one of the countries with the highest percentage of female-led households.
Yes.
It's how we structure our education system, where you have exams at age 12 that determine in large part how you continue through the system. And Professor Miller then pointed out that a 12-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl are not the same for many reasons. The girl is going to be more mature. She may have been handed more household responsibilities, chores, looking after younger siblings, whatever it is, that at 12 they're going to outperform the boys in the standardized tests, whether it was common entrance, whether it was GSAT, whether it is no PEP. And it sets them on a trajectory that puts them in a different frame, a different outcome.
Yes.
And it plays out. It's something that we have long known. As I say, I sat in a talk with Professor Miller 40 years ago, discussing the then looming crisis. And it plays out now in the workplace.
And
all things being equal, employers like women that think they're more disciplined, easier to train, work better in teams, and so on.
Yes, 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 yes.
And of course, in every rule, there are exceptions. But overall, and I heard a part of the earlier discussion, one thing we have to acknowledge, and it is global, over time, people make logical economic choices.
You want to develop on that, Mr. Chen. People make logical economic choices, and therefore they do what?
All right. If a boy realizes that his education is not matching the girls, and he realizes that if he goes to the bank and looks for a job in the bank moving through the system, and if you look at any bank in Jamaica, any finance institution, you're going to see 2/3 of the employees are women. He may well, and I don't want to say enter criminal activity, which is a part of the discussion I heard earlier. He may well enter informal employment. Years ago, and I'm going to go to anecdote now.
Yes, yes.
I was in my 20s and on the board of a non-traditional high school.
Yes.
And I realized that many of the boys didn't complete, well, they came out with no subject. I started that. They didn't do anything with the C-sex subject. Many of them ended up selling in the market. Many of them ended up driving taxis. Many of them ended up working in a trade.
Yes.
And the starting figures will show that although the boys have not matched the girls, men matched women in educational attainment, in income, the men are still ahead. I remember a young man who sold garments in the Christiana market said to me one day that his teacher is still walking on the street and he can drive a car. So he didn't see the point of going on to tertiary education to be walking on the street.
Yes.
When he could sell a few lengths of cloth, sell a few shirts and pants, and it was in the 80s, in the days of ICIs.
Yes, 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 yes.
And he has developed to be a very highly successful businessman, very, very wealthy over the 40 years.
I see, I see, I see. And
people make logical economic choices. But the 17-year-old, he will look at his teacher, well dressed, neatly turned out, coming to school every day, or taking the bus. And he said, that's not for me.
Yes.
And he looked at his friend, taking out clothes out of a barrel, whether sent by a family member overseas or whether collected by flying down to Panama, and saying, that is better for me.
Yes.
You look at the other friend who may not afford a car, but he has family members or compadres who can put together and buy him today a little toolbox or an AD wagon. In the day, it might have been a a Toyota Corolla.
Yes. Yes.
They make logical economic choices. If there is no punishment or the system is too weak to deal with activities that will be criminal, people will go there for no fear of the cost benefit is there because there is little fear of punishment or retribution. Similarly, if we attach to higher cost to formal education, to formal employment, and we tend to do that in Jamaica because the payroll taxes are high and the standards are high.
Yes.
Many of us will stay in informality because the costs of formality are too high. Over time, people will make logical economic choices. One of the profound lessons I learned in my early life is life is what really unfolds while we are busy making other plans.
Mr. Chen, you made mention of the cost of formality and whether or not it is too high. That is a very interesting point. We could have another segment just on that alone, because the weight of some of the taxes on the persons who pay companies, etc., is another topic for discussion. Thank you for that, sir. So, Dr. Bourne, if I may, do you regard, clearly you regard the practice as unfair in terms of, the amount of women we have, or we tend to go for more women in the workplace vis-a-vis men, but we have heard some of the realities as well, Dr. Bourne. So what, if anything, do you think is the solution to this issue?
That's an excellent question. It's not that I think it's unfair that you have more women in the workplace. I'm not discussing that aspect of it at all. What I'm actually saying is that when you begin to use women because they are economically vulnerable, then there's a problem.
Well, that's we're saying the same thing. We're saying the same. So what
I think that the solutions are wide and varied in the sense that we need to also look at how do we restructure a system, how do we make the system even more transparent. In terms of the ad that I heard you play during the break, it's actually saying what the ministry is actually saying, that listen, what we should do to make things better for particularly women, because they are the vulnerable type. So I'm saying that is also an issue. But the matter, again, and I go back to Becker's theory, is not that Becker's theory owes only for crime, but it looks at the choice that you're going to make economically. Whenever the benefits outweigh the cost, you're going to do it.
Yes.
And which is exactly why a number of persons are going to move from the formal sector into the informal sector. The benefits and the cost is where the issue is.
Dr. Bourne, if I could throw this in, because I'm not sure if either of you gentlemen have mentioned this, but it is true that although women are the ones who are often heading the homes, you will have a man who might have 2 or 3 or even more homes to maintain. And so he's under economic pressure, which is probably why he will do what Mr. Chen referenced in terms of, do some kind of informal sort of way of earn a living in a more informal way, because he needs to pull in that income, not just to maintain himself, but his children, the baby mother.
That's a reality, but it's not so much a dominant reality, really. Okay. In the sense that Mr. Chen spoke to a matter that he said that, look at the cost and the benefits in terms of going university or not going to university. And that can be applied in everything else. My very brother was able to lend me money while I was actually going to school. And my brother has a difficulty reading. All right? And he has far more material position than I have at the moment.
Dr. Bourne.
And I have 2 doctorates. So I'm saying to you, there's a reality that's out there. It's not fictitious. It's a reality that's there.
It is a reality. Gentlemen, I'm getting a signal. We are completely out of time. Very interesting discussion, Mr. Chen. So sorry you joined us a little bit late. We should have you back, sir. Thank you so much for joining.
I welcome the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much, both of you, Mr. Chen and Dr. Bourne. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back at the Morning Watch.
Open to the deposit account in the JN Bank Savings Streams promotion and save monthly for a chance to win an all expenses paid trip to Peru. Enter now. The time by JN Bank Savings Streams promotion is
7:30.
Spring into savings with incredible deals from Home & Things. Whether you're upgrading your home or refreshing a room, don't miss these unbeatable deals now in full bloom for the best in tiles, bathroom fixtures and faucets, windows, doors, vanities, lighting, and more. Home & Things is budding with discounts. So shop now on Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Spring into savings and take home the deals from Home & Things.
Juicy from the Easter Bun. Order online and send a brother at McKeelBakery.com or call McKeel Bakery at 926-160 or 929-3897 and get your little.
Life is on the go. You got this friends with going. Let's try to take ways up to go. Takes you probably to the time anywhere. You and your body to get back to the best that you see side. No challenge you can fight with friends like Let's try to fast.
Leading to you. Friends with boneless sardines are packed with omega-3 and ready to eat right out of the can. Try the hot pepper, the delicious olive oil, or the new spicy Thai chili on its own or on a cracker. However you like it. Cleansing boneless sardines. Snacking made easy. Snacking made healthy. Snacking made tasty.
Mama work hard, for real, to do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 JN Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud. Stop wishing you could. With your JN Bank savings, you absolutely can. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to your tuned into the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have here the Gleaner online. Switching off the internet on your phone can reverse the brain's age. Very interesting there. And we have in the physical copy of the Daily Observer a bit of sad news. Versatile actor Munir Zaka passes. And also on the front page of the Daily Observer, a headline here, Missing Puzzle Piece. This story by Casey Williams. Defense warns additional video clip in case of licensed firearm holder on murder charge. And we have here in Loop Jamaica News, general elections not constitutionally due by September, says Malahoo Fort. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. Coming up next, we'll read for you some of the feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, would you prefer to employ males or females, and state that in your advertisement for the post? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses in our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
You're invited to listen to Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, every Thursday at 10 p.m. First Thursdays, the New United Bible Way Church of God with Reverend Dr. Jasmine Brown. Every second Thursday, Apostle Dr. Elaine Richards, Public Relations Officer, Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, and Women of God in Service, Rogis Ministries International. Every third Thursday, Senior Pastor Fitzroy Carr, Praise Deliverance Ministry. Every fourth Thursday, Reverend Dr. Leonie Samuels, pastor at the Richmond New Testament Church of God in St. Mary. And on fifth Thursdays, Reverend Dr. Ruthlyn McClarty, Kingdom Covenant Family Church. That's Encounter, presented by the Jamaica Association of Full Gospel Churches, every Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Not a dog in the upper hole.
Man, them do a good job with the house, though.
I can't complain, but just a look a little small now to wire it.
Go talk to C&WJ Credit Union. Them have a house wiring loan of up to $150,000 to wire your house. See, you can get power from JPS.
That's right. Get up to $150,000 and 3 years to repay with the CMWJ Credit Union house wiring loan. CMWJ Credit Union. Discover the benefits of belonging.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Now for your responses to all social media questions, would you prefer to employ males or females? And state that in your advertisement for the post, Jakal.
All right, so we have one here from an anonymous tip.
I wonder why anonymous.
Right, it's anonymous. Some of the past and present politicians, such as, quote, man a yard can apply. We already know so them can act. Yeah, I'll leave that one there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dyer.
You're very welcome.
As I said earlier, in my view, it's unconstitutional to, be saying you only want women in a particular job or men in a particular job. Men and women are equal in the Jamaican Constitution in terms of no discrimination based on sex. Now, we move to the second watch. AI has been part of our daily lives for many years, but AI is getting bigger and bigger and taking on much more importance, it would appear. Well, we're seeing it. We're seeing the realities out there. In some parts of the world, it's turning up in restaurants, hotels, banks, media, transport, supermarkets, and even police stations. I have been to a supermarket right here in Jamaica where there are some cashierless spots where you can cash your items, not necessarily needing a cashier. Although I have seen where there is someone aiding you with cashing your items through this machine, but maybe theoretically you don't really need someone to assist you. You could do it yourself if you knew what to do. So some of our jobs are already being threatened or taken away, and jobs held by doctors and teachers, for instance, it is indicated, can be easily replaced by AI. These vital services, medicine, teaching. Now, this as soon as in the next 10 years, it is being indicated, we will probably have what might amount to some kind of revolution in the workspace, where a lot of what we see taking place right now are replaced by AI. Are you prepared for this? Are you prepared for this? We have as our guest today to look at this important issue. Well, we have as one guest so far. Who do we have so far? Is it both? Brittany Brathwaite? Brittany Brathwaite, Caribbean Employee Relations Expert, member, Caribbean Society for Human Resource Professionals. Brittany Brathwaite, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. I hope you are well.
I'm doing well, thank you.
And I hope you're not going to be replaced by a machine. I'm joking.
We hope not.
I'm joking. No, AI, do we really know the implications of it for workers? Do we really know the implications of it for workers, Brittany Brathwaite?
I don't think we have a definitive response for that. I think we are still learning We're still understanding the full breadth of implications on the world of work. The International Labour Organization, they have launched in 2025 an observatory. And what that observatory is doing is, in a live and real-time manner, doing research all across the globe, collating that research and having it or housing it in that observatory. So people like us in the Caribbean, we can see in real time how AI is being interwoven into workplaces, how quickly that's happening, how are low-skilled, medium-skilled, high-skilled people adapting in our region. So to give a definitive answer to that, I'd say we can't quite say, yes, it is, very pervasive in this industry and it will do X, Y, and Z, because even at the largest, most international space, they're still observing via research. So I think it's going to be critical for anybody working anywhere to keep a keen eye out as to how AI is being integrated every single day in their operations. And that's to, whether you are in housekeeping or whether you're a lawyer or whether you're a doctor.
Yes, because I'm glad you mentioned some of these areas, because it would appear, well, from all appearances, it does seem as if AI can and will take over most professions, and not just the so-called lower level or lower skill types of jobs. For example, There is something here published in Yahoo. Bill Gates says AI will replace doctors, teachers within 10 years. Bill Gates himself. So, and from where he sits, clearly someone who is heavily into technology as a business person. How does that strike you?
I mean, it's quite a striking statement, and we've seen these type of projections, and we've not, taken heed. But I think anybody who has ChatGPT or DeepSeek that's listening right now,
yes,
I encourage you, right? Go type any question you have for legal advice into DeepSeek, and just give it the country. And you don't even have to cite the particular piece of law. You'll get extremely comprehensive legal advice. Now, for him to say definitively that it's going to eradicate a field in 10 or 15 years, I certainly can't support that. I don't have enough evidence to support that, because while we may type something into DeepSeek and it's going to give us comprehensive legal advice, there are nuances, as we know in the Caribbean particularly, dependent on the industry you're in. There are things that AI can't learn because the information isn't being fed to it. So when he says 10 years, that might be in the greatest, most advanced society, right? That might look more so like a 20, 30-year timeline for the Caribbean, who will be slower to adopt, who will likely not have the feasibility to invest as heavily as a North America or a European country in AI. But it doesn't mean it's not coming. It also doesn't mean that these professions cannot adapt, because certainly while I trust AI, and it also has a lot to do with us as the people and the consumers, right? So while we trust AI, do we want to trust, and in 10 years, would we want to trust AI to entirely fix our bodies? Or would we want a physical human being who has a body like us to have an AI companion? I think that we have to have more nuanced conversations when we're talking about replacement, and also talk about adaptability. I think professions can survive if people
Brittany Brathwaite, only because of time, but we're upon a break. Hold the thought. You were talking about adapting. Hold that thought for a moment. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back at the Morning Watch.
During the worship experience, Arise 2025 with the Hoppers, Easter Sunday, April 20, National Arena. The time is
7:45.
This Mother's Day, Bashco is giving you 60,000 to pick up mommy. Spend 7,000 or more at any Bashco location before May 6th. 60,000 or a brand new washing machine or an air fryer oven and a gift cert could all be yours from Bashco. Don't miss your chance. Enter now. Pick up mommy with Bashco. Follow Bashco on all socials at Bashco Jamaica. Bashco, the store that gives you more. Authorized on Section 63 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
JUTC finally arrived in St. Mary. Well done, JUTC. The seats are very comfortable and it has Wi-Fi and AC.
The ride was nice. The AC was nice. I love the ride. I will always look out for you.
Thank you for traveling with me, and I will definitely look out for you the next time. Welcome to JTC on the 52B. From Alpha Tree to Tom's River.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We're speaking to Brittany Brathwaite in this second watch of the Caribbean Employee Relations. She's a Caribbean Employee Relations Expert member, Caribbean Society for Human Resource Professionals. And the topic in this second watch is AI, artificial intelligence, is set for a bigger takeover. Are you ready? And I had made reference in the first half of the second watch to an article put out in Yahoo News. And it's actually from the New York Post and the writer Ariel Zilber. And the entire headline actually reads, Bill Gates says AI will replace doctors, teachers within 10 years, as I said before, but it goes on to say the following. Claims humans won't be needed, quote, for most things, unquote. Brittany Brathwaite, you're indicating the need for humans to adapt, but adapt how? If there are so many things that can be taken over by AI, what will there be to adapt to? Continue, Brittany Brathwaite.
Absolutely. So we have to always remember that AI is learning from us.
Yes.
Right? AI is fed by human experience, human interaction, and our desire to learn more. So the two are interconnected.
So let me ask you to pause for a second, Brittany Brathwaite. What does AI learn from us? Is it that every time we type something in a social media platform or whatever, in an email, I don't know. Is it that it is learning from us in that way? And what is it learning?
It's learning, and I mean, the algorithms are endless. So it's learning our patterns.
So is it when we put something in social media, it's learning from that?
It depends.
Okay.
DeepSeek has algorithms that spread across the length and breadth of not just social media, but the World Wide Web.
Oh.
So your regular searches, you know, yes, your social media interactions, but across the web. So you might be in Google Scholar. So it has very deep algorithms.
So if I write a paper and I publish that paper it could even be a newspaper article. So I publish a newspaper article. It's on the internet, so it's learning from that as well.
Absolutely.
I see. So
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So why are we feeding something that is trying to replace us?
And this is where the conundrum lies, right?
Yes.
We can't not. There's no space where, as human beings, we can reverse our interconnectivity with the way that we use the World Wide Web.
Okay.
So this is where the work, as we have come to learn it, would have to change, and how we look at career trajectory. So, you know, in a couple of years, and they say 10 years, or Bill Gates says 10 years, but maybe 15, 20 years in the Caribbean, we may not just see doctors who are studying medical sciences, but you may see a doctor who's studying medical sciences as well as the use of AI in medical sciences. And that may, you know, you're seeing different pharmaceutical companies asking for AI assistants or AI feeders. And that is, they want people with a med sci background to come into their environment and to feed AI data and research, so that the information the AI is spewing out to the users in the pharmaceutical space is as accurate as possible. So you're going to find the same core skill set being required, but that adaptability will likely come in the form of people being asked to work alongside and almost use AI like a colleague and not just a companion anymore.
Use AI as a colleague and not just as a companion anymore, or is it that the human will become the companion to the AI?
I would say that we have to keep a positive outlook because there is a flip side of this. We have regulatory agencies, we have government. I said when we started this conversation, that the International Labour Organization, they've started an observatory on AI in the world of work. And what that observatory has also done is to push out protocols globally to say to working environments that there has to be an ethical way that you go about using AI. So there isn't, I trust enough in the system that I've seen through, our governmental systems, the structure of work and the way that is rolled out, that there will be protocols and frameworks that will aim to regulate the use of AI, and certainly to regulate the way that it is, interlocked into working environments to ensure there is not a one and done eradication of any one space, and also that ethical use. Using AI in recruitment became a very big thing in the last 5 years. But then we had a lot of global recruitment firms saying, hey, we need to slow down the use of AI because one, AI was being fed, as you were saying, images from the internet, images from different spaces as to what a professional looks like. And take a guess what a professional looks like when you typed in a professional in a corporate working environment in the first pages of Google. Tell me what you think popped up. A Caucasian in most cases.
Okay.
The language they spoke was English. Their look was very different. So that had discriminatory implications.
In other words, you can program biases into the AI.
There we go. And the ethical frameworks and the human component of that will never not be important to ensure that we're regulating those elements. And that goes for any single.
One of the challenges that you're raising as a professional yourself is that one has to be careful of biases being fed into the AI, which can in fact probably lead to results which you don't necessarily desire.
That's right.
Yes. Well, you can get pushback though, Brittany Brathwaite, you might agree, because you're talking about ethics and trying to make things as good as you can make them. But if you have a business operator who really couldn't care less about your ethics, and they just need to get this job done because they need to make money, and if it suits them to just have a fully AI generated store where you walk in, pick up something off the shelf, as you pick it up, it knows you picked it up, it then swipes your debit card or credit card immediately. You don't even need a cashier, and you walk out and you get a receipt on your phone immediately to say that you bought the item. Who cares about your ethics, Brittany Brathwaite? That's what some business operators might say. Why are you telling me about ethics? But I think we have Vincent Morrison on the line. But before he comes in, any thoughts before before he says anything at all? Any comment you want to make quickly, Brittany Brathwaite?
Absolutely. And, that's where we talk about the jobs that AI can create and not just the jobs that can be eradicated. Somebody has to program every single element of the technology that you just described.
So we need
somebody has to code. Somebody has to maintain.
So everybody has to become a coder now. Coder.
More than a coder. There are far more areas that will require the maintenance of that technology.
Hold that thought, Brittany Brathwaite. I think we have Vincent Morrison on the line now. Vincent Morrison, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Let me say good morning to you and your listeners.
Of course, Vincent Morrison. Good morning to you, sir. President of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees. So sorry you're only just now joining us, but you might have heard some of the discussion. What do you have to contribute in terms of AI and how it can impact the workforce?
Well, definitely it's going to impact the workforce. But like other developments over the years, you know, globalization, you can name a number of them.
Yes.
We have to find a way to deal with the whole situation going forward.
Yeah.
You know, there's a story about Ford, Henry Ford.
Yeah.
He went to a plant somewhere in Michigan, and he was shown the production line, and he was told by the management, look, very soon, robots will be doing all of this. And he turned to the management and said, look, I hear you, but who's going to buy the car? Robot? A robot's going to buy the car? You know?
Very interesting.
Very interesting. It's something that is coming. You see what is happening in China?
Yes.
You go into a restaurant and, you know, you're served the meal, robotic, and what have you. But we have to plan that. All the sectors of the Jamaican society, the economy, the church, everybody, we have to come together.
Mr. Morrison, only because of time, can I quickly ask you, sir, are there any policies that someone like yourself in the trade union movement would propose to manage possible changes before we wrap?
Certainly. We just had our conference on the 8th of March, and we discussed the matter.
Yes.
We have adopted some resolutions coming out to the conference that we believe that we shouldn't be left behind. That's the first thing. We should, you know, looking on the thing holistically, and we should be dealing with it up front, right? The industries that are going to impact, those industries should identify very early in the game.
And do you have any ideas of industries you want to indicate could be impacted more so than others?
Well, I think it's basically the services sector.
The services sector. Hotels?
I think
hotels?
The sector.
Hotels, fast food outlets?
Come again?
Hotels and fast food outlets?
Yes.
Gas stations?
Yes. Yes.
And these are places that employ a lot of people, you know, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Banks? Insurance companies?
Yeah, insurance companies, yes.
You go to renew your policy, your motor vehicle policy, and you probably don't even see a human being.
Right.
If you're not careful.
It could be very, very harmful to us, to the economy.
But then you made an interesting point, Mr. Morrison. Someone has to buy the car. In terms of what was said to Henry Ford, someone has to buy the car. A robot can't buy the car.
Robot can't buy the car.
Well, hopefully.
Straight enough, robot will drive a car, but robot can't buy a car.
Although they're moving to self-driving cars now, you know, Mr. Morrison. Anyway, I'm hoping you've given us a glimmer of hope. Mr. Morrison and Mr.
The trade union movement is ready to sit down with whoever the powers that be.
Yes.
So that we can analyze the whole thing and see how we can minimize.
We are praying for you and wishing you all the best, Mr. Morrison.
God bless you, sir.
Mr. Morrison, I want to thank you, and as well as thank you as well, Ms. Brathwaite, for being with us in this second watch. Thank you so much for your time.
And any other time, sir.
And for your thoughts. We'd love to have you back, both of you. Love to have you back, the both of you.
Okay.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. Visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page, and now at TikTok, Love 101 FM Jamaica, for this and all other Love 101 FM programs at Love 101 FM Jamaica. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to the family station, Love 101 FM, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, hanging back Love in the Morning with Jukal.